Welcome to episode 2 of the Big Sis series. This episode is all about professionalism, how to be a professional baddie, okay? This is really for anyone. It's for anyone, any single person, but the person that I had in mind when making this list was younger me, who didn't have any mentors or anyone in my family telling me how to act, how to be, and what things I should be doing in a white collar environment, in an office environment. So if you're the first person in your family, the only person in your family working a white collar job, an office job, you could not know how to navigate that. And this is supposed to be a list of tips that's going to help you out a little bit. But it's really for anyone. I was going through this and I was like, you know what? I forgot about that. I have to go back to being like this. So you know what? That's actually really good. I need to keep doing that. So it's really for anyone, okay? We're about to start. I just gotta take a sip. I also think that this might be like a two-part thing, because it might just be a little bit better if I do it that way, but let's see. Now, the first thing that I have on here is keep personal life light. Not private, you don't have to be super secretive, but keep it light. Let people at your job know enough about you to have an idea of the kind of person that you are. Maybe they have an idea what is it that your likes are, but they don't need to know the unprofessional side of you. They do not need to know who that person is. So by keeping your personal life light, the way that could look like is that you're not giving anything to anyone that could be used against you. Telling Katie that this weekend you went to the new Sam's Club in this town or that town, telling Thomas that you went to the movies and you watch a new movie that just came out, that's not something that people could use against you. But now having these people on your social media and having them see the kind of people that you hang out with because you tagged them or they tagged you in things, you have them in your stories, maybe they're in your comments, that could be enough information that people could use against you. If you have to create a whole other separate social media account for your colleagues, do that. But don't ever feel like everybody needs to see who you are outside of work, who you are outside of being professional. They do not need to see that. So keep your personal life light. The other thing that I have here is learn the culture before you act on it. This is super important, especially as a new employee. This is like any new job you ever start, you always have to learn the culture before you speak on it. So what that looks like is you observe how people are with each other, you observe how the managers are with each other, how your colleagues are with each other, how other teams around you are with each other, and then act on it. Maybe they make jokes to each other. Maybe they're very careful with not coming off too brass with each other, or maybe there's just a person or two that have a sister brother dynamic with each other, or a sister dynamic with each other, and everybody else is super professional, super private. So observe it and then go from there, because you never want to see an interaction and then start playing into a dynamic that you don't really understand, and now people think that this is really how you are. You never want to do that. It's always really good to observe it, and also you never want to speak up on it before you understand how everybody works with each other, because you don't want someone to hear it and then relate your message in a very negative light to somebody else. So you don't want to come off judgmental. You don't want to come off you think you know it all, or you think you're better than anyone, even if you feel really strongly about what's going on around you, you don't ever want to just talk about it out loud with those people around you at work. Maybe with your friends, but never with people around you, especially if you don't understand it. Um, the other thing that I have is to watch out for toxic behaviors. This is mainly when I wrote this one, I was thinking about like behaviors from those people that are older co-workers and they've been working for the companies or the job for a very very long time, and they back talk or they talk behind the manager's back. You have to watch out for that kind of behavior because you don't want that kind of person to feel like you're the new gossip buddy, especially if that manager is the reason why you got this job. You never want them to think that you agree with them and that you are against everything that this manager is saying and doing, because that person might tell someone else like, oh yeah, and she also feels that way about it, and that message might get relayed back to this manager, and the manager could be really be confused because why are you doing that, you know? So definitely pay a lot of attention to what people do, of course, but what are people saying to you? What are people saying around you? And if they're saying it directly to you, you got to be careful. You have to be really really careful to not give into it. If somebody's like, yeah, you know, the manager, he thinks he knows everything, you know, I know more about him or her, and change the subject. You could say like, oh, do you mind if you help me out with this, just change the subject to something else. Just take the conversation somewhere else, but don't let them feel like this is now the dynamic that they could have with you. If you have to distance yourself, meaning maybe you say hi to them, and then the moment that you feel like they're about to start heading your way to talk about management, maybe you turn around and start talking to somebody else, or maybe you just stop sitting with them around breaks, or going on walks with them, then do that, because then they'll know that you don't really appreciate those kind of conversations because your body's telling them that. So definitely be very very careful to not get into the habit of allowing people to talk with you about people like managers. Also, if they're pushing you to like pick a side, maybe it's another colleague, maybe they're like, oh yeah, you saw what she did, you saw what she said, you could lie. You could say, I honestly did not notice. Maybe that's not a lie, maybe you really did not notice. You could even say, honestly, I don't really like to get into stuff like that, it makes me uncomfortable. You could let them know like this is not really your thing, you don't like to, you're still getting to know everybody, you want to have like a new blank sheet of what everybody's like, and you would like to figure that out yourself, like what personality traits they might have, and you don't really feel comfortable with talking about them without them being present. You could say that to people, and it's not that you're going to come off like you're rude or mean. You could just say like, that's just my personality, I've always been like that, I love to just get along with everybody. And this could give people, especially older people, a chance to see that you're a very very mature person, that you're a intelligent, mature young woman or human being, and they'll adjust to you. You don't have to adjust to them. You don't have to adjust to toxic behaviors ever at all. Another thing that is here is setting boundaries in a soft but firm way. Boundaries is always going to feel like something firm, like something real, like it's a no for me, but you could do it in a way that's soft in the professional environment. You could say, I don't feel comfortable talking about that. Maybe someone wants to know about your business. Oh, are you planning on having kids? Oh, do you live with a boyfriend? Do you live with a girlfriend? Oh, what is your political views? You could say, I don't feel comfortable talking about that. You could say, can we keep this work related? You could say, I want to focus on what I'm doing right now. You could say, oh, hey, do you mind if I continue doing this? Like, I kind of want to finish this task. I'm working on this project. You could definitely let people know, like, hey, this is not the kind of conversation that I want to have with you. in a way where it's soft, but they get it. You're still being respectful. You're not saying, can you please leave me alone? Or how dare you bring this up? How dare you ask me about my body? You don't have to give them that energy, but you could definitely let them know, like, hey, we're not doing this. This is my uncomfortable zone that you're about to touch, and I'm not gonna let you do that. And they'll back off, and they'll respect you. No one is going to feel like, oh, I can't believe she didn't want to tell me, or he didn't want to tell me how many kids they want to have, and I can't believe that they're like this. No one is gonna think that. And if they're going around thinking that, and they're talking to their husband or wife about you in that way, that's their business. It's nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. I think one of the important things about being like the first in your family to have a white collar job, or being a woman or a minority in an environment where the majority are people that don't look like you, is that you might feel like you have to please people. You might feel like you need to fit in. You need to mold yourself to be someone that you are not. And the reality is that you got hired to do a job, and the best thing that you could do, what's expected of you no matter what, is to do your job. And if you could do your job really good and become an expert at what you got hired at, meet deadlines, if you could get to work on time, if you could learn to read the world, if you could learn to participate in meetings in a way where you're engaging, and you could show people, especially managers, that you do care about your work and you have a strong work ethic, everything else that people think about you, everything else that people might talk about you behind your back, is not really going to be too much. Because what's going to be greater than anything is the fact that you are a professional person. You keep your personal life light, you do your job, and you're really good at it. You're polite and you respect everybody. And no one else is really going to be able to say too much about you. When people talk about people like that, if they ever do, it's really because they can't figure you out. They want to know what's the bad part to you. They feel like you are like, they feel like you're like they just need to get into you, like they need to be your friend. And some people feel like the people that they work with, they're supposed to be friends with them, so they could get upset, they could get in their feelings, and for a little bit they might get bothered with that. Especially if you're a woman and you work with other women, there could be a thing where there's some type of clique and they just want you to be a part of it. They just want you to be a part of it, and they could feel like you're declining them by not telling them all about your personal life. But after a while, they get used to it. They get used to who you are. And it's also better for your mental health to have a personal life that's light and professional, where no one could use anything against you, versus having a life where you no longer know how to go back to having people respect you and see you as a professional person, because now people know everything about you. Your friends that you grew up with, they know this side of you, but so do your coworkers now. So now everything is just like everything is mixed in together, and that's really hard to get out of. So it's easier and it's better for your mental health when your brain knows, like, okay, in the office or when I'm logged in, I am professional, I am polite, I do my job right, I do it great, I engage, I respect people, I ask questions if I have to ask questions, I don't engage in toxic behaviors. And then when I clock out, when I log out, when I come back home, I relax, I allow myself to free think, I allow myself to talk about political things with the people that know me outside of work. And that is a lot better for your mental health. It's a lot better for your well-being than to be the same person everywhere you go. To be the same person in your professional life and in your fun, laid back life. That's not, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's smart to do long term, especially if you're working a job where a lot of people there are older than you, where a lot of people there might have a different lifestyle than yours. because they might over time start to talk about you, and you might be giving them so much of you that they could start to build a certain identity or idea of who you are that's not really who you are. And it gives them and you're giving them so much about you that they can honestly start to even talk ish about you. And imagine people are talking ish about what you're not showing them because you're deciding to have a light personal life, versus someone is talking ish about things that is actually real about you. And now you, especially if you're like an empath, or like you're someone that has high intuition, you could feel an energy shift and you don't know why, because you're nice to everybody, you just wanted to fit in. And it's because people are like, oh yeah, I can't believe that she did that, or yeah, can you believe that she has brunch every Sunday at 2 o'clock with her friends? And yeah, but in your face they're all nice and they're all talking to you, and oh yeah, and tell us what you did this weekend. Oh girl, you have a fun life. Sometimes people a lot of times people are nice to you in your face, but they're really jealous and hating about on the fact that you're able to enjoy yourself and you're able to live your life the way you live it. So you have to be really careful. You cannot feel like everybody that you meet in a professional setting is someone that you could just trust and show all parts of you to. And if you're a single woman, you really, really want to be careful with how much you share with your personal life, especially with men. You don't want to share things like, oh yeah, I live over here on this side of town by myself, alone, on this street, on this floor. You have to be really, really, really careful. Like you really have to be really careful, because people, even though they're telling people all their business in a professional setting, there's a mask that people wear. Even the most extrovert person at a job is wearing a mask. Behind closed behind closed doors, they could be a Instagram stalker. They could be stalking you. They could be trying to figure out a lot of things about you because you gave them a little bit, or you gave them an inch, and now they want to know it all. And now they know a lot about you, and they could be a creep. And you have no idea, because in real life they're the extrovert, they're friendly. I don't want to make this really scary for anyone, but as the person that's giving your big sis advice, I just want you overall to protect yourself. But also, like, I understand that imposter syndrome is a real thing. And one of the things that imposter syndrome could do is it could make us feel like we don't belong when we do belong. If you have a strong work ethic, if you are doing everything that you said that you were going to do at a job that you got hired to do, people are going to respect you. You're going to be able to move up. You're going to be able to have connections even after you leave the job, because you are a good worker. You are friendly, you are respectful, you do what you have to do. So all that other stuff of like personal life, sharing things, and trying to be too much of you in a place that's supposed to be more your professional self, it's unnecessary. You really don't have to do it. If you're like, oh, but I don't know what I am, what is my professional self, I'm telling you what it's supposed to be. Your professional self as a young, beautiful woman should be somebody that keeps her personal life light. I gave the tips of like, maybe you got to create a social media where you just have people from school on there and people that you work with. You watch the culture, you don't speak on it right away, and you don't let people pull you down to have toxic behaviors like gossip about other people. You don't allow it. You change the subject. You straight up say, I'm uncomfortable. You could say, that doesn't feel good to me. Honestly, I don't want to hear this. If you see two colleagues talking ish about people or someone that you know, you go get your coffee, you go make your tea. And guess what? The HR department, if something is really, really making you uncomfortable, if there's somebody that's a little bit creepy at work and it's making you uncomfortable, talk to your manager or take it straight to HR. Always protect yourself. Always